UFC Vegas 76, Sean Strickland versus ABUS MAGOMEDOV just took place, and it went exactly how I thought it was going to. At least the middleweight did. I thought Sean Strickland. I thought he was gonna win. I felt like he was gonna win. Sean Strickland's been in there with the better guys. Like I said, he's been there for longer rounds. He's had handfuls of 5 round fights. And ABUS MAGOMEDOV, his cardio looked horrible. He gassed out after round one, after a round that realistically wasn't the highest pace. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a Colby Covington type of pace or a a Diaz brother type pace. It was a relatively okay pace, but he just gassed out after round one. Round two, at the beginning of the round, or at some point in the rounds, in the earlier part of round two, Abus was breathing heavy and looking up at the clock, and I said to myself, I said, this is way too early in a 5 round fight against Sean Strickland. Well, it's way too early in a 5 round fight against anyone to be breathing that heavy and to be gassed out in early round two. So yeah, good on Sean Strickland. Got the finish, got poked in both eyes, but it is what it is. Giga Chad, Sean Strickland coming through once again. Good for him. I don't know who he fights next. I guess maybe a Vettori, maybe a Cannonier. Well, Vettori's probably gonna take some time off because he took a lot of damage. So maybe a Cannonier, maybe the winner of Paulo Costa versus Ikram Aliskerov. I think that would be a fun matchup against Sean Strickland. So we'll see there. Let's see. Michael Morales, really, really fun Ecuadorian prospect, just defeated Max Griffin by unanimous decision. And it was a fun fight. I had it 29-28 for Michael Morales. I think Griffin had a good round one. But Michael Morales, the highlight for that fight for me, the takeaway, I should say, the takeaway of Michael Morales versus Max Griffin is this, as far as Michael Morales' skill set. Number one, he's way too open on the feet. He has no head movement when he's striking into the pocket. And number two, his takedown defense is incredible. There was a moment in round 3, I believe, where Michael Morales pushed off the cage for a Superman punch, and Max Griffin beautifully timed a double leg. The entry was gorgeous, got into the hips, and Michael Morales somehow just defended that takedown. He has absolutely god-tier takedown defense. Fun fight to watch, but he's still young. I believe they said he's only 24 years old, 15-0, young kid. I'm excited for his future, man. I really hope they kind of slow play him and let him really grow into his own. Yeah, so that was that. Bonfim versus Saint Denis. That was a fun fight for as long as it lasted. Saint Denis got a round 1 rear naked choke. Good for him, and that's against one of the Bonfim brothers. There's no joke. Those guys are no joke. Moving on to the prelims, Kevin Lee versus Fakretinov. Man, Kevin Lee, he got dropped and subbed out cold in less than a minute in round 1. Kevin Lee just was kind of okay with everything, I feel like. You know what I mean? Like, he was getting jabbed up for as long as the fight lasted. It didn't last very long, but Fakretinov had some really strong and stiff jabs, and that was popping Kevin Lee's head back, and then just drops Kevin Lee with a beautiful right hand, follows up with the guillotine. I thought he was going to go ground and pound, but he ended up going guillotine, and Herb Dean was just okay with seeing a corpse that night, but that's Herb Dean. What's new? Herb Dean fault. So yeah, Fakretinov put Kevin Lee to sleep. Kind of sad to see, honestly. I know Kevin Lee's return to the UFC was a huge ordeal. You know what I mean? It was a huge deal to see him come back. He was a huge name. Fought some tough guys like Chiesa and Ferguson and things like that. But we just have to be realistic at this point. I would like to see Kevin Lee retire. He clearly doesn't have it anymore. But his fight before this was with Diego Sanchez, and he made it competitive with Diego Sanchez. With the damage he took in this fight, getting knocked down and then also submitted out cold, I think he's going to have to take some time off. And I just don't think he has it anymore. It depends on what he wants. Does he want to keep fighting just because he likes it? Does he want to keep fighting because he wants to get to a title shot? Does he want to just have fun fights and make some money? It's really up to Kevin Lee. But if he wants to get a title shot, the closest he'll ever get was that interim fight with Tony Ferguson, and that's about it. Um, that was that. One more fight I want to highlight on this main card was Brenner versus Gurram Kutateladze. What a fun fight, dude. Absolutely fun fight. Gurram Kutateladze made the horrible and fatal mistake in round one, which was knocking down a shoot to box fighter. If you knock down a shoot to box fighter in round one, you will lose the fight somehow by finish. That's the absolute worst thing you can do against a shoot to box guy. That's like, they're chilling, they get knocked down, and they're like, oh, you know what? You're right. It's time to fight. It's time to fight. So, yeah, Gurram Kutateladze versus Brenner. Man, that was a fun fight. It was a super fun fight. Brenner got dropped towards the end. For round one was kind of close, but Brenner got dropped towards the end of round one, scoring it for Kutateladze. And then round two, Brenner was on his back, and Gurram hit him with a nasty elbow that just completely opened up Brenner. I remember I seen Dana's Instagram story. The cut on Brenner's face or his forehead, it was a hairline cut, but they were kind of pulling it open. They were pulling the wound open, and you could literally see his skull. It was crazy. And then Brenner with a beautiful, I want to say left hand, with a left hand, rocked Kutateladze bad down to his knees, and then followed up with ground and pound, and just really, really impressed me. Honestly, it was a fun fight. It was fight of the night, in my opinion. I think that was fight of the night. Absolute back and forth war. And those are the fights, and it's crazy to think that fight was the third fight on the entire card. And it's fights like that really, they're the ones that make me want to tell people, like, hey, make sure you watch the prelims, you know what I mean? Like, because you want to give those guys the respect. Sometimes there's a war on the prelims that is really, really fun, but nobody watches it because hardly anyone watches the prelims on a main card, let alone, or on a pay-per-view, let alone a fight night. Overall, fun fight, though. Fun card overall. The card was okay. It wasn't bad by any means. There were some fights on there that were kind of boring, but there were some good finishes on there, some exciting fights, and most importantly, it was an exciting main event. So shout out Sean Strickland. Shout out to all the winners on the card. Grant Dawson looked great as well. Just completely dismantled Ismagulov. Yeah, fun card, fun fights, and yeah, I can't wait. Next weekend is UFC 290, Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. You got Moreno versus Pantoja. I'm excited. That card is stacked. There should be a prediction video coming later on this week. And yeah, man, I'm excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of the fight and just of the whole card overall. There have definitely been worse cards, but there have been better cards. But overall, it was fun. It was fun. Lots of good finishes. A couple of good fights on there. And I had a blast watching it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you later this week. See ya.